All right, guys, I'm now going to help you do problem number 5 from the gas law problems homework. All right, so let's get to it. Now, I read this problem. Hydrogen gas was cooled from 150 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius. Its new volume is 75 milliliters. What was its original volume? Well, a couple things we can do here. First of all, let's get started with the only equation that matters. Initial pressure times initial volume over initial moles times initial temperature is going to equal final pressure times final volume over final number of moles times the final temperature. Now, what's being mentioned in this problem? We've got temperature, all right? So temperature is being kept. We've got volume mentioned, all right? And it's asking for volume, so volume is being kept. So we're keeping temperature and volume, and we are getting rid of pressure, which is not mentioned, and number of moles, which is not mentioned. So the equation is V1 over T1 is equal to V2 over T2. All right, now we are going to plug in and get started. But warning, y'all, warning, and I mentioned this in class, you should do a scan of your entire worksheet to identify degrees Celsius, all right? Remember, we cannot use degrees Celsius in these problems. They must be Kelvin. If you use Celsius, you go to Celsius, all right? So I am going to take a moment and I'm going to convert these guys to Kelvin by adding 273. One moment. All right, so it wasn't 150 Celsius, it was 423 Kelvin. And it wasn't 50 degrees Celsius, it was 323 Kelvin. These are the temperatures that we need to use. You cannot use Celsius. All right, so now we're going to plug in and get to work on this. All right, so the initial volume is, we don't know what the initial volume is. We have to solve for it, okay? Do we know the initial temperature? Yeah, the initial temperature was 423 Kelvin. Do we know the final volume? All right, yeah, here it is. The new volume is 75 milliliters. And the final temperature is 323 Kelvin. Okay, we are trying to solve for this volume right here. And the way we do that is we get it by itself. It's being divided by 423, so we have to multiply by 423, both sides. Cancels out over here. So the initial volume is equal to 75 divided by 323, and then times that whole thing by 423. I'm going to put that in my calculator right now. All right, so after plugging that in, I got the new volume was 98.2, and its volume, and we were using milliliters here, so milliliters. All right, your units have to match on both sides. So there we go. There is the answer. Volume is equal to, the initial volume was equal to 98.2 milliliters.